The film begins with Millie arriving at Andrew Winchester's house, where she meets Nenah, Andrew's wife. Nenah welcomes her warmly and says, "It says on your resume that you graduated from university with excellent grades, and you could find a much better job. So why do you want to work as a house manager?" Millie tells her that she loves cooking and children, which is why she decided to work as a house manager. Nenah then shows her a photo of her daughter, Cece, and says that she is a very special child. After that, Nenah gives her a tour of the house and tells her that her husband Andrew designed the house himself, even though he is not an interior designer. He inherited the management of a software company from his father, but he is obsessed with order and organization. She then shows her Cece's bedroom and Millie's private room, and tells her that she is in the early months of pregnancy and therefore needs a housekeeper to help her. She also explains that her husband does not yet know about the pregnancy. Nenah adds that she is still conducting interviews and will call Millie if she decides to hire her. She then gives her $20 and says that this money is because she made the effort to come all the way there. When Millie leaves, she tells herself that she is sure Nenah will not call her, because she will discover that her resume is fake. We then learn that Millie does not have a place to live and is staying in her car, because she is currently serving a 5-year probation sentence. We will later learn why she was imprisoned. The next morning, Millie wakes up in her car to the sound of an officer telling her that sleeping there is not allowed. At the same time, she receives a call from Nenah, who tells her that she wants her to start working that very day. Millie heads to Nenah's house and notices that the house is in complete disarray. Nenah takes the bags from her and tells her that she is busy writing a speech she will deliver at her daughter's school parents' council, then leaves her and goes to her room. That same night, Andrew and Cece return home. Nenah introduces Millie to her husband and tells him that she hired her to help with the housework. Andrew appears surprised but does not comment and welcomes Millie. After Millie finishes her work, she goes up to her room and notices that the door has no key and that the room contains only a very small window with sealed glass that cannot be opened. She asks Nenah to bring her a key and to open the window, but Nenah tells her that she will call a specialist to fix the glass and will also make her a key. She then gives her a phone and says that she has linked it to her bank card so Millie can freely buy household necessities. Millie thanks her, explaining that her own phone was very old. The next morning, Millie is shocked to see Nenah smashing things in the kitchen and screaming, "Where did you put the paper I wrote my speech on?" Millie tells her she has not seen it, which makes Nenah even angrier. She screams at her, accuses her of lying, and threatens to fire her if she does not produce the paper. At that moment, Andrew arrives, calms Nenah down, and tells her that the speech is on the computer and can be printed again. Nenah calms down, thanks him, apologizes for her temper, and goes to the study. Meanwhile, Andrew apologizes to Millie and offers to help her clean up, but she tells him she will handle everything herself. He thanks her again and goes to Nenah. From that day on, Millie becomes convinced that Nenah is mentally ill, and she feels sorry for Andrew, thinking that he is rich, handsome, and deserves a much better woman than Nenah. Millie goes out to take out the trash and meets Enzo, the gardener, who asks her what she is doing there. She tells him that she works in the house. At that moment, Enzo notices Nenah watching them and tells Millie, "You don't belong here," then leaves. That same night, Millie prepares dinner for Andrew and Cece. Andrew tells her that Nenah is tired and will not be having dinner, and he asks Millie to sit and eat with them. She refuses and tells him she has already eaten. That night, she dreams that Andrew approaches her, and she wakes up frightened, trying to push the thought out of her mind. In the morning, Nenah gives her a key and says, "This is the key to your room." The next day is Saturday, Millie's day off. As she is about to leave, Nenah stops her and tells her that she will not have the day off because she needs her at home. Millie tells her that this is not possible because she has an important appointment, but Nenah insists. Andrew intervenes and allows Millie to leave. Shortly afterward, Millie goes to her probation officer. When the officer learns that Millie now has a job and a place to live, she tells her that this is very good, because one of the conditions of her probation is to have both employment and housing, and therefore she must hold on to this job. The next day, Andrew's mother arrives at the house. She appears to be a very sharp and harsh woman. She gives Nenah some ceramic dishes and tells her to take good care of them because they are a family heirloom passed down from every mother to her son's wife. When she sees Millie, she says to Nenah, "How can you let your daughter's nanny dress so provocatively?" Nenah controls herself and changes the subject. That same night, Millie suffers from insomnia and cannot sleep, so she goes downstairs to watch television. After a while, Andrew comes down as well. When she apologizes, he tells her there is no need and sits to watch with her. Nenah sees them and asks Andrew to go ahead to their bedroom. Then she tells Millie, "Don't you ever think about getting close to my husband. Give me the phone. You're fired." Millie starts apologizing and begs her to give her a second chance because she needs the job. Nenah tells her she will give her 1 week only, on the condition that she dresses modestly in the house and stays away from her husband. Millie agrees. The next day, Nenah invites her friends over, and Millie prepares tea for them. While Nenah steps away for a moment, Millie overhears them talking about her. One of them says that Nenah spent 9 months in a psychiatric hospital, and that handsome Andrew is unlucky with her because he is rich and desirable and 1,000 women would want him. If he left Nenah, she would be thrown into the street because she is poor and has no one. They also mention that she cannot have children due to problems with her eggs, which she had told them about, and yet poor Andrew still puts up with her. Nenah suddenly returns and, seeing Millie standing by the door, orders her not to try to listen to what is being said, to serve the tea, and to return quickly to the kitchen. Millie does as she is told, shocked by what she heard. The next day, Nenah goes out with Andrew, and Millie searches the bathroom medicine cabinet, where she finds antipsychotic medication. She becomes frightened and calls one of her friends, asking her to look for any job for her because she intends to leave this one. That same night, she hears the sound of an argument and something heavy hitting the floor. She follows the noise to Andrew and Nenah's bedroom and knocks on the door. Nenah opens it while holding a piece of glass covered in blood. Millie fears for Andrew and calls out to him, until Andrew appears and shuts the door in her face. In the morning, Nenah gives Millie one of her dresses and tells her it is a gift. She asks her to book 2 theater tickets for the weekend for her and Andrew, and also to book a night at a hotel because she plans to spend a romantic evening with Andrew away from the house. She asks Millie not to take her day off and to stay home with Cece until they return, and also asks her to pick Cece up from ballet practice. Millie agrees to all her requests and goes to wait for Cece. While there, one of the nannies tells her that Cece's mother is mentally unstable and that she once tried to drown her daughter in the bathtub. Andrew was busy with important work and kept calling her. When she did not answer, he became worried and called the police. When they arrived, they found her drowning the child and saved her at the last moment. After that, Nenah was committed to the psychiatric hospital for 9 months. The next day, Millie is shocked when Nenah asks her about the theater tickets she bought. Millie tells her that she was the one who asked her to buy them, but Nenah denies it and says that she is going with Cece to a camp over the weekend, so how could she ask for theater tickets? She tells her that the cost of the tickets will be deducted from her salary. Millie breaks down and begs her not to do that because the ticket price equals her entire salary, but Nenah insists and tells her she will fire her if she does not pay. When Andrew arrives and learns what happened, he asks Nenah to calm down. On Saturday, Nenah takes her daughter and they go to the camp, leaving Millie alone in the house with Andrew. Andrew suggests that they go to the theater together, and she agrees. That night, she wears the dress Nenah gave her, and they go to the theater, have dinner together, then go to the hotel, spend the night together, and a relationship develops between them. In the morning, Andrew wakes Millie and tells her that Nenah and Cece will be returning home that day and that they must be there when they arrive. They do arrive before them and try to act normally in front of Nenah. Later, Millie prepares lunch, and as she places the food on the table, Nenah says to her, "You were in prison, weren't you?" Millie is shocked. Nenah then says to Andrew, "You certainly know that she was in prison for 10 years before she worked for us, don't you?" He looks stunned and does not respond. After that, Nenah asks Millie to take her car and go buy groceries from the supermarket. Millie does as she is told. While at the supermarket, she meets one of Nenah's friends, who, upon seeing the phone with Millie, tells her that it is Nenah's phone and that she can use it to track her and know her location. Millie is shocked, realizing that this means Nenah knows what happened between her and Andrew. As she leaves the store, she is surprised when a police officer approaches her, handcuffs her, and says, "Is this your car?" She tells him it is not hers, and he tells her that Nenah Winchester, the owner of the car, reported it stolen. Millie tries to defend herself, but he does not believe her. At that moment, Andrew arrives, resolves the situation, and takes Millie away with him in his car. While they are on their way home, he tells her, "I have no right to judge you for your past, and your time in prison doesn't bother me." She replies, "Your wife knows about what happened between us. He answers, yes. As soon as they enter the house, Nenah greets them and says to Millie, take your clothes and get out of here. You're fired, and I'll send you back to prison because you stole my dress. Millie replies, that didn't happen. You're the one who gave it to me. Andrew becomes furious with Nenah, yells at her, and tells her, get out of my house. I don't want to see you here again. At that moment, Millie feels that she has defeated Nenah and says to her, I'll pack your bags for you. Nenah screams at her, leaves the house, gets into her car, and drives toward the gate. On the other hand, Millie tells Andrew that she will look for another job, but he says, no, I want to continue my life with you starting today. You are the lady of this house. Millie is overjoyed. After that, they spend all their time together, and Andrew is very affectionate toward her. One day, Millie wakes up before him and goes downstairs to prepare breakfast. She takes out the ceramic dishes and starts preparing the food. Suddenly, she finds Enzo standing in front of her behind the glass door. She screams, drops the tray from her hands, and the dishes shatter. Andrew wakes up to her scream. When he sees his family heirloom broken, he controls himself and asks her what happened, then goes out to drive Enzo away. When she apologizes for breaking the dishes, he tells her, it's okay. Put them in a bag. I have a friend who can restore them. She gathers the broken pieces, puts them in a bag, and gives it to him. When he looks at them, he says, why didn't you wash the broken pieces? She replies, I was afraid I'd cut my hands. That evening, they go to spend time in the room where Nenah used to sleep, and they drink alcohol. The next morning, when Millie wakes up, she finds herself alone in the room. When she tries to open the door, she discovers that it is locked from the outside. She thinks Andrew is joking and asks him to open the door. He replies from behind it, you made a mistake, and you must be punished. We then go back in time to the moment when Nenah approached the gate of the house, laughing hysterically. We go further back to learn that Nenah was a single mother and that her husband abandoned her after their daughter was born. Because of her extreme poverty at the time, she had to leave her daughter with a nanny and go to work at a company. One day, she attended a board meeting, and Andrew was among those present. During the meeting, the chairman mocked her because of her appearance. After work ended, she found Andrew waiting for her, and he asked her to have dinner with him. Since Andrew was handsome, rich, and single, it was easy for him to win her over, and within 1 month they were married. During that period, she dyed her hair blonde at his request while they were getting to know each other. He once told her that he had been engaged to a woman named Kathy, but she left him after only 2 weeks of engagement, which had deeply affected him. Over time, the color of her natural hair roots began to show, and he asked her to go dye them. She agreed, but she was busy and delayed it for a while. As a result, he locked her in the same room where he later locked Millie. There was no food in the room, only 3 bottles of water. When she asked him to open the door, he refused and said, first do what I ask of you, then we'll discuss the terms of your freedom. He slid an envelope under the door and said, you will pull out 100 hairs from your scalp and put them in this envelope. If I find even 1 hair that wasn't pulled out from the root, you'll start all over again. Nenah was shocked and told him she would not do it, but he didn't respond and left. Days passed, and Nenah began to feel hungry and exhausted, so she was forced to do what he asked. She pulled out 100 hairs from her head, put them in the envelope, and slid it under the door. He took it, but returned in the evening and told her that 1 hair had not been pulled from the root, and ordered her to pull out another 100 hairs. She was forced to comply a second time. An hour later, he returned and opened the door, finding Nenah unconscious from hunger and thirst. He woke her and gave her a bottle of water, which she drank completely. She then rushed out to check on her daughter and found her fine and playing. Suddenly, she felt dizzy and realized he had drugged her, and moments later she lost consciousness. When she woke up, she ran to look for her daughter and found her in the bathtub, between life and death, and tried to save her. At that moment, the police arrived and assumed she was trying to drown her daughter, so they pulled her away. As she was taken out of the house with them, Andrew pretended to cry over the child, while in reality he was gloating and staring at her defiantly. After that, Nenah was committed to the psychiatric hospital for 9 months. None of the doctors believed her story, and they all diagnosed her with psychosis. In order to be released, she pretended to accept their diagnosis, and so she was discharged. After that, she lived with Andrew as his wife against her will, because he could easily have her committed again and deprive her of her daughter. To avoid having a child with him, she had a contraceptive device implanted and bribed a doctor to convince Andrew that she was infertile and would never be able to get pregnant. Andrew abused her constantly. The only person who believed her was Enzo, because his sister had died at the hands of a man like Andrew. He tried many times to convince her to escape with her daughter, but she refused, knowing that Andrew would eventually find her. Her only way out was for Andrew himself to cast her out of his life. That is why she devised the plan to hire a housekeeper and chose a weak girl with no other source of income, because Andrew always liked to feel that he was in control of the life of the woman with him. And indeed, her plan succeeded. We return to the present to see Andrew standing in front of the door, saying to Millie, "You didn't just break my mother's dishes into 21 pieces, you didn't even wash them. Because of this negligence, you will be punished." He then slides a piece of the broken dish under the door and says, "You will cut your stomach 21 times, and the cuts must be deep. When you do what I asked, we will discuss the terms of your freedom." Millie becomes angry and tells him, "You're insane. I will never do that." He leaves her and walks away. 2 days pass, during which Millie remembers that she went to prison while she was still in high school because of a rich and arrogant man like Andrew. We go back in time to see Millie in her boarding school dormitory. When she entered the room, she found a young man violently raping her friend, so she struck him hard on the head until he died. Because of his father's influence, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison, even though she was defending her friend. Back in the present, Millie searches the room until she finds a sharp tool and hides it in her clothes. She then cuts herself with a piece of ceramic, and after she finishes, she calls Andrew and tells him she has done what he asked. When he enters the room, she stabs him in the neck with the sharp tool, takes his phone, runs out of the room, and locks the door on him from the outside. Andrew becomes enraged, starts pounding on the door, and asks her to open it. She replies, "When you complete your punishment, we'll discuss the terms of your freedom." She opens the phone and watches him through the camera installed in the room and connected to his phone. Millie goes downstairs to eat and drink. During that time, Andrew's mother sends him a message saying, "Have you prepared the divorce papers yet, my handsome son with the charming smile?" Millie then searches the kitchen drawer for pliers. When she finds them, she takes them, along with the rest of the ceramic set and a can of gasoline, and goes upstairs to Andrew. She throws the pliers at him and says, "Pull out your front tooth so you can never smile at women again and make them fall in love with you." He refuses at first, so Millie starts smashing the rest of the ceramic set, then pours gasoline on him. When Andrew sees the gasoline seeping from under the door and hears the sound of a match being struck, he says, "Fine, I'll do what you want." He pulls out his tooth, and Millie watches him through the phone camera. When he asks her to open the door, she refuses, goes downstairs, and leaves him. Meanwhile, Nenah has told her daughter everything and says, "You and I are going to run away from here." Cece replies, "We can't run away and leave Millie. She hasn't done anything wrong." Nenah is convinced by her daughter's words. That night, she returns to the house to save Millie, believing that Millie is the one locked in the room. She opens the door, and Andrew comes out and attacks them, but Millie manages to push him from the second floor. He falls onto the lobby floor and dies. After that, Nenah tells Millie, "Run away, and I'll say he fell while changing a light bulb." Millie agrees. Shortly afterward, the police arrive. Of course, Nenah's story does not seem convincing, but by coincidence, the officer investigating the case is the sister of Catherine, the woman who had been engaged to Andrew. The officer says, "My sister once came to me completely broken after what Andrew did to her." She then adds, "I believe your story. Anyone could fall while changing a light bulb." On the day of the funeral, Millie attends and stands at a distance. Cece runs toward her, and Nenah comes over, thanks her, and gives her a check for $100,000. A month later, we see Millie interviewing for a house manager position with one of Nenah's friends, who says, "Nenah recommended you to me. Can you help me?" During the interview, Millie notices bruises on the woman's hands and realizes that her husband beats her. She says, "Of course I can help you, and I'll start working today." And here the film ends.